Are you rich? Chances are you never will be. If you weren't born into money, the odds of becoming wealthy are slim, and it's
Cap.
not
The hell?
because you didn't
I hope y'all don't hear that.
hard enough. The truth is, the ladder we were all told to climb has been pulled up. In its place is a system designed to keep the rich on top and everyone else locked out. On today's episode of the Infographic Show, we'll reveal why you will never be rich and how the game was
What the fuck is this? All right, bro.
rigged from the start. Money has increasingly been going to the top of the socioeconomic ladder for decades now, though lately the problem has gotten real bad. In 2023, Oxfam found out that of $42 trillion of new wealth created since 2020, the richest 1% got 2/3 of it. Meanwhile, the other 99% of the population got the leftovers. And if you have been grinding away at a full-time job just to cover the rent and bills in a major city, you already know building wealth or even saving for a rainy day or unexpected doctor's visit feels next to impossible.
Bro, who is he talking to? Dude, you might have to cut this off. Who is he talking? Like, bro, like, what are you, bro? Most people, like, bro, the average person just doesn't know how to do it. Like, let's be honest. The average person just don't know how to do it. They just don't know how to do it. Like, bro, like, there's not that many people that actually have a budgeting system. Most people do not have that. They just feel as though they can't get this and they can't get that. Like, come on, bro. Like, let's be honest.
For one, wages are not keeping up with the cost of living. According to the Pew Research Center, average hourly earnings peaked in 1973 at $4.03 an hour, a rate of
Bro, imagine getting paid $4. Bro, that is a scam.
equivalent to $23.68 in 2018. Adjusting for inflation, that means that the people today have about the same purchasing power as they did in the 70s.
Ah, I see. Damn. That's tough. But that's inflation, though. Oh, let me go back. That's inflation.
Why? Equivalent to $23.68 in 2018. Adjusting for inflation, that means that the people today have about the same purchasing power as they did in the 70s.
I mean, but that's inflation, though. But I mean, with $23, that's pretty wild, though. That's pretty wild. But that's inflation, though, so I don't really see his point.
Why aren't wages keeping up? Well, the decline of unions, for one. Then there's an increasing amount of labor in competition for fewer and fewer companies. Independent and small businesses are increasingly run out of town, and large companies grow and merge to form even bigger conglomerates. Prominent economists from several universities calculated that since the 1930s, the share of the U.S. economy dominated the top 1% of companies. That has increased to 90%, up from 70%. Meanwhile, the asset share of the top 0.1% of companies has risen to 88%, up from 47%.
But this is my thing, right? I mean, bro, there's so many companies in general. And like, bro, just like thinking about the stats, right? Just think about the stats. A company, like what are we actually, what is the criteria of this whole stat, right? Is it just because if it's an LLC, it counts as a company? Like, what are we talking about? You know what I'm saying? So it could not even really be that, like, it could be more of a bigger portion, but I'm going to disagree with it, but y'all get what I'm saying.
7%. These companies are now running the market with an iron fist, as the competition of just a handful of corporations and oligopoly isn't really much of a competition at all. That is bad news for startups and independently owned businesses, which is also bad news if you're trying to be rich. After all, being an entrepreneur and building your own company from the ground up used to be a decent method to earn your way into the upper class, if you were successful. According to Brian Head, the median net worth of self-employed families at $380,000 in 2019 was over 4 times that of families of workers at $90,000. However, startup costs have increased with time because of inflation and the Consumer Price Index. The average cost of a startup is now estimated to be $40,000 for the first year. And that turns into hundreds of thousands if you want to start a brick-and-mortar store or restaurant. That means that even the...
Bro, but how many people want to open a... You get what I'm saying? Like, bro, y'all got to... Come on, bro. Y'all got to question this. How many people want to open a restaurant instead of just making a like a food truck or you know what I'm saying? And sometimes I think people like, don't they like host? I don't think that's what a brick and mortar is. I think that's like their own shit, right? I think like there's like a different way where you just go like you rent out a store and then you do it for like for the weekend or some shit. Like you just rent it out or something.
Ability to be an entrepreneur is increasingly tied to how much money you have available to you since birth, no matter what Instagram accounts with cigar-holding men will tell you. Perhaps that's why American entrepreneurship has been declining. The Ewing Marion Kaufman Foundation found that though startups made up more than 12% of U.S. companies in 1980, by 2012 they only made up 8%. In addition, startups went from providing 4% of all jobs in the same time period to 2% more than 3 decades later. According to the Brookings Institution, the ultra-wealthy don't earn their money from jobs like the rest of us. The top 0.01% make 82% of their income from investments and businesses.
Duh!
Nearly 60% from investments alone. Meanwhile, the top 0.001% made 88% of their income from investments and businesses, with more than 70.44% coming from investments. You know, like the investment that you don't have the money to make, and the businesses that you don't have the...
Bro, but I don't like, bro, I do not like how this video is trying to paint this picture. Because, like, bro, it's... like they started somewhere and they just happened. Like, bro, y'all gotta understand, bro. I ain't gonna lie. I think probably one of the best times business wise. I want to really say, and I'm not trying to say it's factually correct, but just from how our civilization has grown, like I think probably like the 90s, like 80s, 90s was the greatest time to start a business, bro. Cause like dog, like this whole .com thing, the whole .com situation, and then it just like kind of just taking over. Of course, like some businesses have to adjust to, you know, different times, especially like, you know, in 2008 and all that shit. But like I think it's far harder now, but at the same time, it's not really, because bro, it's like, bro, if you just put in the work in, what we talking about? You know what I'm saying?
Money to start. That's why the bottom 80% of households on average made only 7% of their money from the same sources. And part of the reason the ultra-wealthy stay ultra-wealthy is because high wages are taxed differently than capital gains, or the profit that you get off an investment. The Brookings Institution points out that the highest effective marginal income tax rates on wages exceed 40%, whereas much business income is taxed at a top rate below 30%. Dividends and realized capital gains are taxed below 25%.
Is that not amazing? Is that not cool? Is that not cool though? Like, bro, I think that shit's awesome. Like, bro, obviously, clearly that means, well, no, I'm not going to say not every job is worthless or anything. Or like there's no problem having a job. That's my point. There's no problem having a job. But clearly, obviously, business income and dividends or investments, right, is the best thing you can do. Because obviously, you get taxed less. Duh. But you gotta grind. You gotta save and get to that point, right? But it's just that people, you know. But I actually think that I want to say the most popular type of business is client based, right? I would say that. It has to be. It has to be. But, you know, I mean, I think a lot of people, you know, are into like day trading now and, you know, streaming and all that stuff too. So I think there's far more opportunities to do business, but I think it's just the person that's willing to wait the longest is going to win, you know, but also treating it as if they don't have another option either, you know, so it kind of all kind of comes into fruition, you know, because if you're just saying, oh yeah, I'm just gonna, you know, post and that's it. If you're not like if you're not like into the quality of what you're putting out, then you're not really trying to advance. You're just kind of being complacent. So it all really depends on the effort. But see, to me, I think the business shit is a people stat. And what I mean by that is that with a people stat, so many things have to go right and so many things have to go wrong for you to fail or succeed, right? Because as a person, if you say fuck all of the data and all that shit, and you declare that you're gonna win, you're gonna win. You're gonna win, bro. Like, you're gonna win. There's no doubt about that. So it's like, if you're actually not putting in the effort, of course you're going to lose. Of course you're going to lose. If you're not willing to pay someone to teach you how to get the job done, you're going to lose. If you're not going to listen to anybody, if you have a hard time going by the rules or try to cut corners, you're going to lose. So it all depends on the attitude that you have when you're doing business. Like, that is the difference.
That means that if you work your way up to a really high-paying job, you're probably giving away almost half of your income in taxes. But
401k, cheat code.
if you are super wealthy with multiple investments, the government is seeing less than a quarter of that. This allows you to maintain your status as the top 0.001%.
That's bullshit, bro. That's bullshit. You know how many stories we've heard, right? How many stories we've heard from people that, and bro, like, all right, there needs to be a quota on who is the, like, at what point are you declared rich? At what point do you declare rich? Like, what do y'all think is rich to y'all? Because I think the misconception is that you got to be a millionaire to be rich. Like, I think, bro, if you make $1 million a year, I don't think I wouldn't say that's a millionaire in my opinion. I wouldn't say that's a millionaire. I think once you make 2 million, then you're a multimillionaire. You know what I'm saying? Or you're, well, okay, never mind. I just fucked up. So yes, you are a millionaire if you make $1 million. But I think that, bro, you just even making $500,000 a year, bro, that's a lot of fucking money. That's a lot. If we're being reasonable, right? No, you can't just keep buying a whole bunch of business of Birkin bags, some shit. You can't do that. But you can do a lot of things with $500,000 a year. So it's like, I think people misconception of what rich is so miscued, bro. Like, I don't know, man. It's just like, I don't know. I think a lot of people think what rich is, that it's like just based on what you can buy. But like, bro, Drake can't buy $1 billion bunker. You know what I'm saying? He can't buy that as of now. Cause he's not, is he a billionaire? He's gotta be close. But you get what I'm saying? He can't technically buy that. Well, unless I guess maybe put a down payment or whatever. But anyway, the point is that I just don't believe that rich has to be, oh, you make millions of dollars and all this other stuff. I do not think so. Like, bro, $500,000 is a lot of money for an individual. Oh my God, bro. You know how many things you know and how many things you've put in the work, and then you just scale at that point. I mean, goddamn, right? So it's like, bro, like it's like, I think people think way too. I don't even want to say. I think too small in the sense of like, you think for you to be rich is a 5 million, 10 million, dog. You making 500,000. If you actually maneuver that money right, bro, you'll be good.
Well, everyone else around you.
But this right here is complete bullshit. Complete bullshit. That's cap.
Tries to fight their way up. Capital gains and similar returns from real estate assets, stocks, as well as investment portfolios are therefore a perfect wealth building tool, and one you probably can't access unless you're already rich, as money breeds money. The alternative is investing from day one to get anywhere near those returns, but you have to start at a really young age, as you'll soon see, and that's going to be
what's really young. Yeah, what's really young?
Almost impossible. Experts
and remember, most of these rich motherfuckers is old, bro. Old. You see this? Gray hair. That nigga almost there. What the fuck is he talking about, bro? Come on, bro.
Data from Norway, and they found that the wealthiest 0.1% of households were already rich in their 20s. But more importantly, they invested heavily in equity and saved much of their income. You, on the other hand, are stuck paying for rent, bills.
I had some great ass tea, bro. I put some lemon juice, peppermint tea. Oh my God, that shit was banging.
Food and your car, leaving, if you're lucky, a couple $100 for a couple nights out with friends and a new shirt or two.
And that's your problem. See, if you're going out Why the fuck are you going out when you only got $200 to your name? What are we talking about, bro?
If it makes you feel any better, it's not just you. According to The Atlantic, people making over $150,000 a year keep about 40% of their income after taxes and basic needs like housing, food, and transportation. But those earning much less often have around 15% of their already
15%? Bro, what? What the fuck are y'all doing?
small paycheck to cover everything else. And that is on a good month.
Like, I'm 23. So I don't have to, not just yet. I don't have to deal with, health, or medical insurance and all that shit. But even that, hold on. Okay, medical insurance cost average since 2025 is $600. That's crazy.
However, that doesn't take
I ain't got nothing to say about that. I ain't got nothing to say about that, bro. But I think it also depends on how old you are, your previous health history and all that shit. So
all expenses into account, like healthcare and education. After those costs are covered, the poorest Americans have spent 98% of their income. That leaves only
98%?
$367 in income that they
nigga, what?
could use for other things, or about $1 a day. Chances are that is not going to be turned into a mutual.
Bro, where did he get these stats from? Is this for real? Bro, like, it's not, dog. Bro, right now, you can literally go on fucking Uber Drive. Easily make, bro, if you just working 40 hours and you did Uber X, right? You easy making 50K a year. Easy. You easy making 50K a year. 40 hours, that's it. You're making 50K a year. Just driving people. I mean, you gotta have a good car. I would recommend Toyota. But even then, bro, like, even if you did Uber rental, there's an Uber rental. They literally let you rent out a car so you can go Uber. That's it. And you probably gotta pay like what, $300, $350 for the rental per week. Nigga, bro, what? Bro, come on, bro. This is not this bro, there's like no way. Like, how do niggas not have two jobs? You should have two jobs.
Fund investment. And even if they somehow did put enough money together to speak with a financial advisor, the awful truth is most advisors and firms wouldn't be interested in serving them. A report by the Financial Literacy Group highlights a harsh truth. Most financial advisors aren't interested in clients with serious money. Michael E. Kitchis, director of research at Pinnacle Advisory Group, agrees, pointing out that non-affluent investors simply don't bring in enough to justify the time. To most advisors, the returns just aren't worth the effort. Or as the report states, the brutal truth is that financial advisors, in order to serve the non-affluent, would have to accept a substantial pay decrease. Not to mention
What? Damn, so they could just turn down motherfuckers? That's crazy.
Financial advisors make a hefty sum and therefore tend to move in wealthy circles where they can pick up prospective clients. If you're not making well into the six figures, it's much less likely that you'll come across someone like that.
I don't think I don't really believe in financial advisors. Even though like I'm someone, cause I'm in school, right, for finance, but I don't think going the way they do it, I wouldn't do it, bro. I would do more freelance. Like, I would just give advice. I wouldn't try to put a chokehold on motherfuckers' money and try to, charge them like a management fee and shit. I'm not doing that, bro. I just feel that, first of all, I wouldn't even want to touch people's money like that, to be honest with you. I would rather just give advice or talk you through to save money and all that shit. Like, I'm not gonna have my hands in your pockets. Like, I'm good, bro.
They tend to be located outside of your network. Even if you get past all the initial financial and connection hurdles, coming from a background in which investing simply wasn't a thing is a barrier in and of itself. Amos Nabler, who has a PhD in behavioral finance and neuroeconomics, describes it as a complexity aversion, i.e. a kind of fear of investing if you've never done it before and you don't know much about it. According to him, it is the biggest barrier to building wealth for people who are not in markets or who have never invested.
Yep, that's facts. Damn, bro, do I really need premium? Golly.
Before. For those who do invest, starting later in life, whether because it took you time to build enough income or simply not knowing how, makes it far less likely that you'll build significant...
Bro, what is this outfit? I'm sorry, this shit is garbage. What the... Anyway.
...wealth. One article uses the example of someone investing in a retirement portfolio with an annualized total return of 8%. If that person starts at 20 years old and invests $200 a month, they'll have $1.25 million saved away.
Bro. Dog, you gotta do more than that, bro.
By the time
How much he said you put in?
with an annualized total return of 8%. If that person starts at 20 years old and invests $200 a month.
Come on, bro. You playing around. Bro, yo. Okay. Y'all playing around, bro. $200, my nigga? Are you fucking serious? Come on, bro. Niggas is not, bro. If niggas is just, bro. Now, I'm not saying if that's just that, if you want to start like that, that's fine. But dog, if you literally just do $200 for your rest of your life, bro, you playing. You playing. You're playing, bro. You're playing, bro.
They'll have $1.25 million saved away by the time they're ready to retire.
They're playing.
If they start just 5 years later, they'll only have $830,000. Another 5 years after that, $547,000. Clearly, having the disposable income and knowledge to start investing early makes all the difference. And that puts people not born into wealth at a major disadvantage. Not to mention, the thing that everyone tells you to do to earn money in life, get a college degree, starts off many Americans' lives deeply in debt.
That's true. But see, okay. All right, so this is another conversation, right? Oh, I gotta write that down. Hold on, chat. No, that's another conversation. I ain't gonna lie, that's another conversation. We gotta make a video. We gotta react to something that is college a scam? Oh yeah, we gotta make it. Oh yeah. Yeah, we gotta do a video like that one. Yep.
Average federal student loan debt is around $38,000. If you choose to go to an elite school and you can't get financial aid, or you need an advanced degree.
Why you need to go to elite school, nigga? Why? I mean, okay, obviously, like, yes, some people get, little brownie points for going to a big university and shit, but come on, bro.
Like law or medicine, you'll soon see it can be a lot more than that.
So I think niggas gotta think big, bro. Fuck all that, bro. Like, listen, I think the fact that if you can get a job, because remember, like, in college, when you work a job, bro, like the max you can make, 25 grand, 30 grand, right? So the fact that you have a job that you might work, I hope y'all don't hear that. But the fact that y'all have, okay, I don't think y'all can hear it. The fact that y'all can have the fact that you can have a job that makes you, let's say, $70K in the same hours, so 40 hours, you can make 70 grand with 40-hour week schedule, right? Dog, like that's a Chico. And then on top of that, so then the next 20 hours, you can make 20 grand with that. So off rip, you make 90K. Come on, bro. Like, what do we do? Bro, I'm telling you, dog, if y'all really want this shit, bro, y'all can get the shit, bro. It ain't hard.
Student debt is a huge drag on someone's ability to build up their personal wealth as you're starting off your professional life not even at zero, but at a negative amount. And student debt interest rates mean that if you can only choose a relatively low monthly payment plan, you're barely going to make a dent in the amount you owe. All of your money will be covering the interest. The current federal interest rate is 6.39% rather than the principal of the loan. One journalist, David Dennis Jr., has given up on paying off his loans. The $80,000 he racked up in school will turn into $200,000 in payments.
Yeah, bro. Yeah. I mean, I am blessed to not have to deal with that shit, man. I feel bad for the people that have to get a school loan. But like I said, we definitely gonna have that conversation. But I do believe that you gotta be sure what the fuck you going to school for, bro. And if you really want to do it. Cause bro, like if you don't and you just go out your way to just, go for something that you don't even know what the hell you doing, bro, this is the worst way to go, bro. I understand like trying different things and trying different classes to see what you like, but it's like when you do a loan, my nigga, cause now you gotta make profit. Now you gotta profit off of that loan, So it's like, bro, like, because 80 grand or 200 grand is insane.
Thanks to an 8% interest rate and the length of his repayment plan. Not to mention, using any leftover money to pay down debt means that you can't save up to invest in assets. especially the one that used to help most American
But see, the point is, I think the point is the misconception is that, bro, you are investing into yourself, bro. Because if you do get that education, bro, they can't take it away from you. No one can take that away from you. So I'm not saying it's not worth it, but you better know that whatever you're getting in school for is going to be worth the loan. It's going to be worth all of that, bro.
families build up wealth, a home. Now, the counterpoint usually brought up by older people falls along the lines of, I bought my first house when I was 26 working as a waiter. Why can't you? But things actually aren't that easy for millennials and Gen Z trying to work their way up to homeownership in today's economy. In 1984, the median annual household income in the U.S. was just over $22,400.
That's so unbelievable. That is crazy, bro. Bro, niggas make more than that, bro. Like, niggas be making that shit in high school.
While the median home sale price was $78,200. So an average home was around 3.5 times a household income. By 2022,
no, the home shit is really
the median
bad.
household income had gone up to just under $74,600 per year, while the median home sale price was now $400,000.
That's insane. That is a crazy discrepancy, bro. That's a crazy margin. I ain't gonna lie. That's a crazy ass margin. I would never think in life that you would be this far off from getting a home. I don't even think there's a point getting a home until you ready to have kids and shit. I don't even believe in having a home. Yeah, I ain't worried about a home until like I'm 30, 35, 40, nigga. I do not give a fuck about a house. I've never cared about the house thing. I don't care.
$33,100. In other words, 5.8 times the average annual household income.
If you're clean,
God dang.
According to the income rules many realtors go by, that means as of 2022, an American household needs to make above $100,000 to buy an average priced home in their city. And in some of the nation's biggest cities, they'll need to make 3 to 4 times that. That's partly due to housing shortages. As of 2022, the U.S. is more than 3 million homes short of the demand from would-be home buyers, which is why browsing Zillow has become the millennial version of reading fantasy novels. The shortage is caused by a combination of factors. There's the labor shortages needed to build them, NIMBY policies blocking new construction in existing neighborhoods, and the high cost of materials thanks to global supply chain shocks and inflation. Rising interest rates haven't helped matters. After over 2 decades of relatively low interest rates on home mortgages, the rates got jacked up to combat the inflation caused by pandemic relief efforts. This led to current 30-year fixed-rate mortgage interest rates hovering around 6.76%, almost double what it was in 2016. That means that not only do people need...
Bro, like, how can you... I don't know how can someone subscribe to 30... Bro, a 30-year commitment? What the fuck? I can't do that, bro.
much more money available to buy a house.
That's crazy.
As they'll be paying higher interest rates on mortgages, but empty nester boomers and Gen X, who would generally be downsizing at this point, are less likely to go buy a new expensive property for a much higher interest rate. So they continue to live in their paid-off homes, keeping it off the market and worsening the housing shortage. People's inability to buy a house and invest in property that's going to appreciate makes a huge impact on how much wealth you can build in your life and how much wealth your children and grandchildren can build. Homeownership itself helps people build wealth by giving them the ability to take out loans against their property that they can use to invest or build up something of their own. A report by the National Association of Realtors found out that by 2023, middle-income homeowners had accumulated $122,100 in wealth due to an average of 68% appreciation in their property value since 2012. NAR chief economist Lawrence Yun says
68%, okay.
A monthly mortgage payment...
But shit, I want it in comparison to the S&P, except from 2012 to 2022. Oh, I assure you it's over 100%. I assure you it's over 100%.
is often considered a forced savings account that helps homeowners build a net worth about 40 times higher than that of a renter. In the meantime, the potential of renters to build a path toward homeownership is becoming more and more bleak. In 2022, renters in the U.S. spent an average of 30% of their income on rent, a record high that's only continued to rise. According to...
I mean, I don't know. I think I don't know. I think as a renter, bro, like, I think it's just a commitment to a house, dude. That's not like, and remember, we're talking about the average American. Okay, like obviously, if you got enough money to, still pay the mortgage and go somewhere else, cool. But most people can't do that shit. So it's like I don't see how staying in one spot is really going to help you in most situations.
Bremer Bank, that's led to a 70% increase in the wealth gap between owners and renters in the last 3 decades. Now, people born rich have an obvious advantage when it comes to becoming rich themselves: money. But being born into a wealthy family actually gives you a lot more advantages than that.
Of course it does.
Starting with financial literacy. Many rich kids are having meetings with their parents' financial advisors, given small portfolios to manage, and get interest and dividends from a young age. They're told exactly what financial instruments and loopholes can help them.
I hope this guy brings up that, like, dog, we do have the advantage to learn the shit now. Literally everywhere. Like, it's on YouTube now. Like, come on, bro. Like, let's keep it a buck.
Accumulate wealth before they've even graduated high school, which is perhaps why MoneyZine found that 58% of Americans who earn over $100,000 are financially literate. On the other hand, financial literacy among the general population is at an all-time low. And without a team of business managers, advisors, and lawyers to tell most people what to do and how to plan out their financial future, who can blame them? That's why only 28% of Americans with an income of less than $25,000 are financially literate. After all, it's not like managing your finances is taught in most high schools. Most people graduating college can't even fully explain how mortgages or IRAs work.
But I ain't gonna lie though. So this is my problem. So in school, because I took a personal finance class, which was actually pretty good. Like, there was a lot of stuff that, I already knew about, because I've kind of been into this shit for the past, I want to say 3 years now. But the problem is, there's a personal finance class, right? But the main issue is that they don't make it a prerequisite. They don't put it in the general classes that you have to take. They wouldn't do that. You get what I'm saying? Because if everyone took that class, bro, and like around the country, dog, there will be far more people, far more educated about the shit. But they don't make it a necessity to take it. Because now I see it now. I see the personal finance. I think there's also a real estate class, I think. So you can do it, right? You can take those classes down, but it's not a required class. It's not a general class, and it should be. It should be, bro. But of course they're not gonna do that, because why? They need some people to not know shit, right? So you worried about taking medical classes, you're not gonna look at no finance classes. You're not gonna look at that shit. So whatever.
He has the lowest overall financial literacy rate, with only 38% knowing anything about investments. A survey by the World Economic Forum found that.
All right, bro. Seriously, soon, bro. I'm gonna get the premium, bro. Like, dead ass. I'm gonna get the premium. I ain't gonna lie, cause, bro, these ads is killing me. Especially, I got like 2 videos that's gonna be an hour. One's an hour and a half worth, and the other one is an hour. So yeah, I'm probably gonna get the premium, dog, because I'm getting sick of this shit.
40% of people who choose not to invest, implying those who have some money to do so, don't invest because they don't know how. 70% of people.
That is so all right. I would never try to judge, because there was a time I didn't know. But it's like, it's just so, because bro, all you got to do is download one of the most trusted apps, right? Investing apps, right? You sign up. They try to help you, like Robinhood, Fidelity, Webull, whatever, bro. No, I think it's Webull. Vanguard, bro. They actually teach you what certain things mean. So, like, bro, they make it easier than ever, bro. It's just people just don't want to learn, bro. I think some people just really just don't want to get into it. Like, I've came across it.
Surveyed said they'd be more likely to invest with better financial education. Well-off parents are using that financial literacy to set up their kids for life in another way as well, by building up their credit score. One 2019 poll by creditcards.com found that 8% of 1,500 American parents surveyed had their children added onto their credit cards as authorized users.
Oh yeah, that is a cheat code. So like, let's just say if your parent has 850, if they put you on their as a, they like authorize you to be a user on their card, you actually get 852. That shit is crazy. That's a crazy cheat code, bro. That's a crazy cheat code.
This was to game the system and to help them build up their credit.
Yeah, that's
Many
just
of the
wild.
kids didn't even know that they were on their parents' cards, but that good score was building up for them regardless. Those same
But
parents
I don't know. Actually, I'm not sure if it, like, you instantly get 850, but the point is, like, bro, you're gonna have a good ass score, bro.
will also be able to co-sign loans with their kids while their peers are still trying to raise their score above a 600. This is called piggybacking, meaning when people get a good credit score by piggybacking off someone else with good credit.
But I don't even think a credit score is that crazy. I ain't gonna lie. I low-key think, like, I ain't gonna lie, bro. I mean, as far as I know, a car makes sense, and getting a house makes sense, and getting a loan makes sense. But that's about it. But it all depends on your circumstance, I guess. I don't know. Student loans, I would think of student loans.
To build up their own. And as economist Yingli Tao shares, it's just one of the many ways in which the credit score system in general favors consumers that come from more privileged backgrounds, from high-income households, and from predominantly white neighborhoods. On the other hand, for people with no wealth or assets, building up credit can be a minefield. It's almost impossible to get approved for credit cards with any decent limit. Renting a decent apartment becomes an uphill battle. And if you
you had to fuck up somehow. You had to fuck up somehow. Because, bro, like, when I got my card at 18, bro, I didn't have no credit history. And then I think I started with, I got a Discover card. And I think it was only a 500, maybe 1,000, or it was like 750. Like, bro, like, you have to fuck up. And it's so easy. Like, it's like, bro, like, I remember the last time I used a debit card.
you get a credit card, you'll be offered way worse interest rates than someone with good established credit, since you are considered more of a risk. That
Well,
means
you ain't got to worry about interest rate, nigga. Okay. Hold on.
an apartment becomes an uphill battle. And if you do get a credit card, you'll be offered way worse interest rates.
Nigga, it doesn't matter. See, look, if you pay the fucking credit card right when you see a bounce on it, you shouldn't have to worry about it. Bro, I'm telling you, this is very simple math, bro. Like, this is simple math. This is numbers.
Than someone with good established credit.
Like, who
since
cares?
you are considered more of a risk. That means that if you can't pay off the full amount in any 1 month, you'll get dinged more than a person with more money and a good credit score. In other words, you'll be punished for being poor. The other advantage that rich
See, like, you get punished for being poor. No, nigga, it's just bad effing money management. You should not be paying anything that you can't afford. Duh.
kids have over others when it comes to eventually attaining wealth involves access to better education starting at the very beginning of a child's life. According to the World Bank, there is a clear global link between education and earnings.
But listen, I know shit is not that simple. I also understand that people have different upbringings, but at the same time, right is right and wrong is wrong. All right. So even though, of course, people think differently due to how they grew up, but at the same time, bro, we have far too much access. Because remember, most people are not even that interested in learning about money. Let's be honest, right? I don't expect someone that is deep into learning how to be a doctor. You think they give a fuck about anything else? So even if it's someone that's a genius, they still might not even worry about money or managing money. You get what I'm saying? So I'm not saying that you have to be in a certain position to not understand. Because a lot of people, it's just because you have tunnel vision on what you're trying to get to. And that makes sense to me, honestly. Right? So I don't think but it's just that, but you can't be mad at anybody. You can't make any excuses.
On average, each year of primary and secondary schooling boosts future income by about 9.1%. But in many countries, particularly rich ones like the US, the returns on education aren't the same for everyone. A New York Times report found that sixth graders in the richest school districts are 4 grade levels ahead of students in the poorest school districts.
Damn. All right, see, that's the problem. That is semi a problem. But see, then it also depends on what type of school it is. Is it a private school? Is it a public school?
If by the time you've entered middle school, the wealth of your neighborhood has already determined if you're jetting ahead or being left behind, it becomes really hard to make up that gap later in life. The Center for Economic Policy Research analyzed intergenerational earnings and concluded that the main driver of intergenerational earnings persistence are differences in investments received during childhood, which subsequently leads to improved cognition and more years spent in education. Then, people born into money have another major advantage: the opportunity to attend one of the world's best colleges. Because while getting a general college degree might not make that much of a difference in earnings anymore, while saddling you with debt, getting an elite college degree almost certainly will. Less than 1% of all Americans.
Well, let's be honest, bro. I think the stature of going to a certain school is a little bit. I mean, it's not as strong as it used to be. I think we all know that, right?
College students will ever attend one of the nation's 12 most elite universities.
But I think it's more about the people you know versus anything else, right? So it's not really about the actual you actually graduating from the school. It's about the people that you might know, right? The people that you might meet and all that.
The 8 Ivy League schools, plus Stanford, Duke, MIT, and the University of Chicago. Yet, 12% of Fortune 500 CEOs are alumni of those schools. And among the top 0.1% of earners, 13% hold degrees from one of them. And it's not just because
I wonder what that means from the other so I guess the other people just didn't. So
as the rich get better grades. Though that certainly is part of it thanks to more resources, support, and access to tutors and SAT prep, Harvard's Opportunity Insights Group conducted research that showed for applicants with the same SAT or ACT score, children from families in the top 1% were 34% more likely to be admitted than the average applicant. Those in the top 0.1% were twice as likely to be admitted as the average applicant. Though the study didn't fully explain the gap in admissions, it pointed to items like legacy applicants, kids whose parents went to the school, and universities' desire to forge relationships with potential large donors. Other experts suggest that subconscious bias toward considering wealthy candidates better suited may also play a role. So too is the fact that wealthy kids had more money and support for extracurricular activities and other distinctions that could impress admission boards. But no matter what the reason, university admissions policies essentially amounted to affirmative action for the children of the 1%, whose parents can earn more than $611,000 a year.
Damn.
Most depressingly, for those coming from middle and upper class families, this lopsided admissions process does nothing to help their acceptance at all. In fact, just the opposite. Children from middle and upper class families were less likely to get accepted into an elite university compared to the average applicant. Children from the poorest families were actually more likely to be admitted than the average applicant, but only because so few applied in the first place. Most never had the chance to build a competitive application. Many qualified low-income students lacked the confidence to apply at all, and overshadowing it all was the biggest barrier to entry: the staggering cost of attendance.
I ain't gonna lie, he got the best fit in the whole shit. I ain't gonna lie, he got the best fit in the whole shit. I ain't gonna lie, he now that boy fresh. I ain't gonna lie.
It shuts out countless working class and low income families before the process even begins. These universities are expensive, more than your salary expensive. The annual tuition for Harvard University for the 2025-2026 school year, including room and board, is almost $87,000 per year.
Damn,
so
bro.
assuming that number doesn't change at all during the 4 years of your attendance, that means you will owe over $347,000.
That's a lot of, bro. That's crazy, bro.
$700 to the university, or rather the student.
I wonder, and I think it's a valid question. I wonder, is it that high to keep the middle class out, or to just profit off? No, it's probably to keep the middle class out. I ain't gonna lie. I don't think there's another. Bro, because why? Why does it cost that much? Why does it cost that much? Like, there's no, like, bro, there's no way.
loan company extorting you so you could go to
There's
the
literally no way,
university.
bro.
But don't count on your tuition not changing at all. In 2015, Harvard's tuition included room and board was $58,600. That's almost a $30,000 increase for annual tuition over just 10 years. Wealthy kids have a huge leg up when it comes to the massive interpersonal networks from their family and top-tier elite universities. Half of the reason for going to an insanely expensive elite university in the first place is to be able to access their generally successful alumni network in order to smile your way into a job. One paper on Science Direct looked at the literature on the subject of networking in elite universities. It found that higher educational institutional networks, often overlooked, have significant power in connecting graduates to the labor market. And these networks are powerful because, as CNBC reported,
With Thrivent,
No, that's a fact, though.
according to research, 80% of jobs are filled through personal and professional connections. In fact, 70% of all jobs aren't even published publicly, so you could pretty much only get hired for them.
What do you say?
Research, 80% of jobs are filled through personal and professional connections. In fact,
80% of jobs is filled through personal connections, bro. Hey, man. So I kind of feel like, man, it's like, because I'm not one of those, like, bro, I keep to myself, you know what I'm saying? So it's like, but I ain't gonna lie, though. Like, I've never been one of those people that think that I need a job for the rest of my life, though, at the same time. But I mean, I still think it's good to build relationships with people and stuff like that, because you never know. You just never know, ever.
70% of all jobs aren't even published publicly, so you could pretty much only get hired for them via networking. Connections play such a big role in life and future earnings. A study published in Nature found that poor children with wealthy friends were able to obtain an average income later in life that was 20% higher than kids from their same socioeconomic class without wealthy friends. One thing is clear.
That's pretty good.
The idea that becoming rich is all about being the smartest or hardest working is quickly crumbling around the world. And this is evident in the country that promoted it the hardest of all, the USA. This is reflected in the sharp decline of social mobility in the U.S. The Nonpartisan Research Center Opportunity Insights found that more than 90% of children born in 1940 earned more than their parents did. But those born in the mid-1980s only had a 50% chance of doing so. Today, the Brookings Institution found that only 6% of children born to parents with family income at the very bottom move up to the very top. Though the opportunities people have to move on up in life are generally decreasing throughout the rich world, the U.S. has got it especially bad. According to World Population Review, it was ranked 27th globally in social mobility in 2020, sandwiched between Lithuania and Spain. Hardly a big win for the home of the American dream. So what does this mean for people on the ground? Well, in the most socially mobile country, Denmark, it takes the average person born into a low-income family 2 generations to reach the mean average income. In the United States, it takes 5. Instead of your grandkid doing well, your great-great-great-grandkid will get by just fine. Maybe. And it's not just that it's hard to break into the top, it's hard for the richest to fall to the bottom level as well. When looking at the richest 25% of people in U.S. society.
But I think, I don't know.
The World Economic Forum further found that less than 10% of them had low-income fathers. On the other hand, almost 50% of them had notably high-income fathers. Both stats and real-life examples show us that becoming rich is not just about discipline or hard work, it's about access to wealth, to credit building, to assets, to connections. For many people,
I agree with that.
Obtaining real wealth isn't just challenging, it was never meant to be within their reach to begin with. If you think modern billionaires have it made...
See, that's what I'm saying, bro. That's what I'm saying, bro. I would never... Oh, the richest man ever... I bet. I just... So my thing is, right, is that I... Hold on, let me... Yeah, I'm gonna share this. So... I don't believe though that when it comes down to all of this, bro, like we've already seen the stories like on YouTube and, you know, music, entertainers, like, bro, like I think it's really about hard work. I think it's really about just simply putting in the effort, right? And you simply just keep it moving. Cause I think it's just, I think that fallacy that people believing that you have to, you know, be born in the right family and all that bullshit. Like, yes, you get far more of an advantage, of course, but it doesn't ensure definite success, right? Because you still have to put in the work. Now, sure, you don't have to maybe work as hard, right? Due to the people you know. But I think that, you know, people make it seem as if it's just such a difficult thing. Remember, it is about numbers. Now, of course, if you don't know how to access certain things like the stock market or access certain opportunities, right? Because most people think, right, with like going to Yale and stuff, that it just to have the best education. It's not even about that. It's to know the people in there, you know? So, but then again, I think me personally, bro, like, I don't think everything is all about a damn job anyway. Not gonna lie. I don't think it's all about having a job. I think that there's so many ways to get there, but you have to be grounded in the sense of when you get that new money, you got to keep it in the business. Keep it in the business or invest it. So, because I think there's far more stories where people do make a lot of money, right? They do make some money, but then they crumble back down because they don't know how to handle it. They don't know how to manage it, right? So that's kind of what I'm thinking. I think there's far more stories like that than just people just getting lucky and just find a treasure map and just find a load of money and all that shit. No, bro. Like, I think a lot of people fold, and I think a lot of people are actually prepared, and they've actually put in a lot of time and a lot of patience into their craft for it to actually overfill into other things that generate them even more money. But I think the biggest misconception in this video, if anything, is that, bro, you do not have to be a millionaire to have a lot of money. Because honestly, personally, on paper, I wouldn't want to make $1 million on paper. Now I'm going to get taxed to oblivion, right? I'm going to get taxed to oblivion. So I wouldn't even want to make that much money on paper anyway. I'd rather be worth millions of dollars and only make, let's say, 200 grand versus the other way around. You get what I'm saying? So, but I think one of my biggest realizations, though, in the past, you could say the past year, is that I believe that even though, like, yes, like, investing is amazing, it's so good to see it grow and all that stuff, but it's still, the fact of the matter is that earning still does matter. So business still matters. Having a business still matters. Earning a lot of money at your job still matters. So yes, you want to invest. You want your wealth to build. But at the same time, you also got to put in the work to earn a lot of money, because you make it way easier on both ends, right? And the way you live, you make it far more easier. So that's what I think personally. But all right, we go get ahead to the next video. But I think this was good. This was good. This is definitely one of the first videos that I've put out. Well, hopefully they don't block it. Hopefully, I've never reacted to this channel before. But if they don't, I will definitely react to more stuff like this. So that's for sure. All right. Let's see what else we got. So